Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
From Apu University in Chimuros beside LPU and Bayleaf.
I am Francine Sanchez.
And I am Lara Bigornia, and this is Cardi News Report.
Cardi morning to everyone, and also to you, Lara.
Yes, Cardi morning to you as well, Francine. Today, we are back with a fresh report that will make our Mapuans learn more about geology. Say, Francine, let me ask you a question. Do you feel hot today?
Well, no, not with all this aircon surrounding us. Rather, I feel comfortable and refreshed.
Likewise, but do you ever wonder what would happen if all of the appliances we have right now will stop working?
It would feel stuffy and it would be difficult for us to report.
Exactly, and that is why it is important that we have energy. In this modern world where everything, including vehicles, gadgets, and even appliances, need energy, energy resources are a must to keep our lives going. Let us learn more about what energy resources are and what they contribute to our society with Akisha Gutierrez reporting inside the station.
Thank you, Lara. As we all know, the Philippines has been running as a nation utilizing a limited amount of fossil resources. But what will happen when they are all depleted? More sustainable than any other energy source in history, renewable energy is energy that does not decrease after usage. Throughout human history, energy consumption has increased consistently, as energy is the ability to conduct work and is necessary for all living purposes. Accordingly, a source of energy is something that can generate heat, sustain life, move items, or even generate electricity. In the past, the primary energy sources were food and wood for fires used for heating and cooking. Fossil fuels provide most of the energy we use today as they are one of humankind's earliest fuel sources. On the other hand, these fossil fuels have a drawback. They cannot be replenished on a human timescale and have additional negative environmental repercussions. However, nowadays, a shift has occurred in demand for less expensive and cleaner fuels such as natural gas, which is a non-renewable energy source, and renewable alternatives like solar and wind energy. According to Granholm, all energy sources ultimately depend on elements found on Earth, possibly except for direct solar energy utilized for heating. Furthermore, primary energy sources come in various shapes and sizes and can be either nuclear fossil, such as coal, oil, and natural gas, or renewable, such as wind, solar, geothermal, and hydropower. These primary energy sources are transformed into electricity, a secondary energy source that travels to house via power lines and other transmission infrastructure. With all of that said, energy is ever essential and is considered widely available as technology is constantly evolving in the present times. They are divided in two classifications. And again, this is Akisha Gutierrez reporting for the Cardi News Report. Back to you again, Lara.
Thank you, Akisha. Now we have a phone call with an energy specialist from the Department of Energy, Ms. Isa Davila, to discuss the classification of energy resources. Cardi morning, Ms. Davila.
Cardi morning to you as well.
Now, Ms. Davila, can you give us an insight on what are the classifications of energy resources?
Well, energy resources can be classified into two types, non-renewable and renewable. Non-renewable energy comes from sources that are removed from the earth that will deplete within our lifetimes or even over the course of many lifetimes. Most non-renewable energy sources that we know are fossil fuels, such as coal, petroleum, and natural gas. The majority of energy in the modern era has been produced using these resources. And then we have renewable energy. To put it simply, these are sources such as the wind, sun, water, and so on that naturally renew themselves in the human timescale. As non-renewable sources are substantially depleting, more and more countries are transitioning to renewable resources.
Thank you for that wonderful insight, Ms. Davila.
Next, we have here Jasmine Atienza, live at the city of Manila to discuss renewable energy. Jasmine, are you there?
Yes, hi Francine. So, when discussing energy resources, the issues of sustainability is always present. It is essential that the resources we use are able to provide enough to meet our daily needs, such as powering our homes, running our cars, and lighting cities. However, it is also crucial to consider how these resources will be utilized and conserved in the long run. We need resources that will never run out. These are referred to as renewable energy sources, also known as clean energy, and are derived from natural sources or processes that are constantly replenished. Examples of these renewable energy resources are the following: nuclear energy, wind energy, solar energy, geothermal energy, and hydroelectric energy. This is Jasmine Atienza reporting for the Cardi News Report. Back to you.
Next up, we have Dr. Noreen De Castro, a researcher at the Department of Energy who will be sharing with us their knowledge about renewable energy sources in the Philippines.
Renewable energy is prevalent worldwide, especially in countries such as Germany, China, Sweden, and Iceland. But do you know who else uses renewable energy? The Philippines. According to the World Research Institute, the Philippines is considered to be one of the world leaders in renewable energy because of its sources such as solar, wind, biomass, ocean, small hydro, and geothermal. Adding to that, did you know that the Philippines has a total number of 15 dams across the country? According to an article by Mayuga, these dams serve as water reservoirs in various parts of the country. The water from these dams is controlled and has several important uses, such as domestic water supply, irrigation of farms, and power generation. When there are dams, there is moving water. And where moving water is, hydroelectric energy is present. According to National Geographic, hydroelectric energy, or also called hydroelectric power or hydroelectricity, is a form of energy that harnesses the power of water in motion, such as the water in a dam or water flowing over a waterfall, to generate electricity. You may ask, how these hydroelectric power plants work in that case. How do they generate electricity? Well, most hydroelectric power plants have a reservoir of water, a gate or valve to control how much water flows in or out, and an outlet, or place where the water ends up after flowing downward. From this, water gains potential energy just before it spills over the top of a mountain or flows down a hill. This potential energy is then converted into kinetic energy as water flows downhill, which then can be used to turn the blades of a turbine and then generate electricity. Having said that, here are the known hydroelectric power plants or hydroelectric dams in the Philippines. First, we have Caliraya Dam, Angat Dam, Pulangi 4 hydroelectric plant, and lastly, the Agos 6 hydroelectric plant.
Thank you, Dr. De Castro. With that said, we'll be right back after a short commercial break.
Ang hirap tumira sa Maynila lalo na kapag taga Bicol ka. Lahat ng responsibilidad ay sa lumo. Nasa iyo na. All in one. Buti nandyan si Lola. Hindi lang dyan dahil ang lola ko ay binibilihan din ako ng aking paboritong pagkain. Ang onigiri. Mula sa kondo hanggang LRT, lasap na lasap mo ang amoy nito. Ang amoy ng adobo, bacon silog, at barbecue. Yan ang lola ko. Masipag, matyaga, at mapagmahal. Ikaw, anong kwentong onigiri mo?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 57th season of Churros Battle Mapua Edition. Here on my left side, we have Team Fruchos! And here on my right side, we have Team Churros X. But before that, let's ask one of the audience who they think will win the 57th season of the Churros Battle. Sir, who do you think will win?
Tinatanong pa ba yan? Syempre, Fruchos. Fruchos is a stick-shaped snack that is deliciously sweet and crunchy. The flavors include the classic chocolate, strawberry ganache, and mango yogurt fill. Since the filling is incorporated inside the churros, it's so easy to eat anywhere, whether it be walking while interacting with your friends or just chilling and having fun. So convenient, right? At ito pa, knowing na ang Fruchos ay di tinitipid ang filling, sure win na to!
Round 1!
Churros X! Churros X!
Go Fruchos! Go Fruchos! Go! Go! Go Fruchos! Go Fruchos! Go Fruchos! And here we have our winner! Fruchos!
Kaya ano pa ba inaantay mo? Basta sa Fruchos, panalo!
And now, we're back with more exciting news. We have Mr. Nico Canoy right here to discuss the Agus 6 hydroelectric plant near the Maria Cristina Falls. Nico, are you there?
Here we are live in Agus 6 Hydroelectric Power Plant, or HEP, which is a 200 megawatt hydroelectric power plant. In the group of 6 cascading power plants, it is the oldest. The Agus 6 HEP plant, originally known as the Maria Cristina Falls Hydroelectric Plant, was named after the well-known picturesque waterfalls that can be seen just 100 meters away. Awe-inspiring waterfalls cascade from about 320 feet down to sheer rock. Agus 6 Hydroelectric Power Plant, Philippines, is located here in west of Iligan City, Lanao del Norte, Philippines. Former President Elpidio Quirino approved the construction of the project. Overall, it has 5 units in the current time frame. In 1953, the first unit was put into service, and the final one was in 1971. National Power Corporation is in charge of operating it. The project has been helpful to Filipinos for the reason that, since Agus 6 has 5 producing units, it has been shown to be a reliable source of electricity in Mindanao. In other words, it supplies 70% of Mindanao's electricity. In order to highlight Mindanao generation's work to preserve and protect nature, it created a nature park that is currently home to a number of tourist attractions and outdoor activities, including a bird sanctuary, crocodile park, butterfly garden, tiny zoo, and zipline. The Maria Cristina Falls, which are at the center of the nature's park, are its main draw. Tourists from all across the nation are still drawn to NPC's Nature's Park, which is housed inside of the complex of the Agus 6 and 7 power plants. This is Nico Canoy, reporting for the Cardinals Report. Back to you, Francine.
Thank you, Nico. Back here at Cardi News, we have Lishen Aurelio.
Thank you, Francine. As stated by our reporter Nico Canoy, Agus 6 Hydroelectric Plant has proven to be helpful to the people, especially the people of Mindanao, which opens the question, How beneficial or sustainable are hydroelectric plants? There are several advantages associated with the utilization of hydroelectric power, which can be seen in the fact that these kinds of plants employ this sort of electricity. The following are included in this category. First, the advantages in terms of renewable energy resources. Second is the clean energy. Third is flexible energy resources. Fourth is affordable energy. And fifth is recreational benefits. Hydroelectric power is a renewable energy source, which is one of the most evident benefits. This means that no matter how much water we use to generate power, we will never run out. Next, hydroelectricity is a renowned source of clean energy. This indicates that it produces less heat and waste emissions than fossil fuels. Consequently, it does not emit tons of carbon dioxide every time we need to boost the electrical supply. In contrast to other forms of fossil fuels, hydroelectric power facilitates produce instantaneous results. They are also incredibly simple to turn on and off to accommodate supply and demand. Lastly, another significant benefit of hydroelectric power is that it is one of the least expensive renewable energy sources to install. It utilizes natural water formations, and a portion of the expenditures may be reduced by repurposing existing structures. Now you may think to yourself, yes, hydroelectric energy has its benefits, but will it be beneficial for us Filipinos? Can hydroelectric plants such as the Ago 6 hydroelectric plant be installed in other locations here in the Philippines? To answer to that question, yes. Why? Waterfalls can actually be a source of hydroelectric energy, as water crashing over the fall line is full of energy. Thus, hydroelectric power plants near waterfalls can create huge amounts of energy. An example of this is Lake Lanao in Mindanao, whereas it remains the dominant source of hydroelectricity in that area. Aside from Lake Lanao, which powers the Ago 6 hydroelectric power plant, we also have the Batasan and Trans River in Soxragen, where it also serves as a source of hydroelectricity in the nearby area. Furthermore, most hydropower plants here in the country are also in the form of a dam, such as the Sibulan Hydroelectric Power Plant, Pulangi 4 Hydroelectric Plant, and many more. This just proves that as long as there is flowing water, hydroelectric energy is obtainable whichever location you are from here in the Philippines.
Thank you, Lishen.
Now, Francine, what are the ways to encourage people to use hydroelectric energy?
There are several ways to encourage people to use renewable energy, specifically hydroelectric energy. In order for this to happen, two sectors must function together: the government and its people. Let's dive deeper into the function of the government. According to the Philippine Statistics Authority, our country's policies and programs are aimed at preventing the depletion of environmental resources, which involves reducing energy use. With that being said, our government must take policy initiatives for hydropower development in the Philippines. The government must also issue measures to promote the hydropower sectors. These measures will be particularly beneficial for development of hydro projects, specifically in provinces, which are often located in remote and far-flung areas and require the development of extensive infrastructure such as roads, bridges, or transportation of heavy, large-sized equipment and machinery to the project site.
Next is the people. We believe that if each person follows the CCC, which stands for collective, cumulative, and collaborative, the hydroelectric energy use could be fully applied in our country. The first C is collective. This refers to how we function as a whole society and what we have already started. For example, hydroelectric installations bring electricity, highways, industry, and commerce to communities, thus developing the economy, expanding access to health and education, and improving the quality of life. Hydroelectricity is a technology that has been known and proven for more than a century. Its impacts are well understood and manageable through measures for mitigating and compensating the damages. It offers a vast potential and is available where development is most necessary. Additionally, hydroelectric enterprises that are developed and operated in a manner that is economically viable, environmentally sensible, and socially responsible represent the best concept of sustainable development. That means development that today addresses people's needs without compromising the capacity of future generations for addressing their own needs.
The second C means cumulative. This specifies how do we initiate progress or what do we improve in the long run. For instance, markets in most regions have been designed around a traditional resource mix based on fossil fuel generation. To some extent, we will need to rethink how resources are valued in the power system. Flexibility is now in higher demand, so we should make sure that flexible resources like hydropower get compensated accordingly.
And the last C stands for collaborative. This refers to how we help each other in small-scale units like family and barangay. This renewable energy source uses water flowing downhill to generate electricity. So if your home is close to a lake or river, it could be a great option for you. There are many large-scale hydroelectric power plants in operation, but you can also get small-scale ones for your home. These can generate enough electricity to power a home on a river that has a 1-meter drop. Furthermore, compared with fossil fuel technologies, which are typically mechanized and capital-intensive, the renewable energy industry is more labor-intensive. This means that, on average, more jobs are created for each unit of electricity generated from renewable sources than from fossil fuels.
With that said, always remember that our actions provide positive or negative effects in our surroundings. Let us all start to change by learning new knowledge on how to use nature in our everyday lives.
Indeed, once again, I am Laura Bigornia.
And I am Francine Sanchez, your news anchors for today's Cardi News Report. Good morning and have a blessed day, Mapuans!
Ang susunod na programa ay rated PG. Patnubay at gabay ng magulang ay kailangan sa mga batang manonood.
Frankly speaking, the country is not yet ready for it, for the reason that the Philippines is heavily dependent on foreign contractors, since it lacks exposure to development and operations. In comparison to other countries, the cost of renewable energy projects is substantially higher in the Philippines.
The lack of investment and experience in developing renewable energy projects makes it difficult for the country to discontinue carbon energy. The country, especially the government administration, continually ignores the detrimental effects of carbon energy, therefore closing opportunities to transition to safe and cleaner renewable energy sources.
Since the pandemic started, the Philippines has struggled to transition away from carbon energy as this type of energy is convenient in many ways.
The rising population and an increasing energy demand is something that the Philippines is struggling with. Although sustainable and worth the extra commitment, investments in smart technology and renewable energy are not something a third world country can achieve in a matter of seconds. It requires cumulative work and a significant effort to reduce or eliminate carbon-powered technology.
It is hard to transition away from carbon energy, maybe because of the business that the government gets with it.
Aside from the fact that renewable energy projects are expensive, the Philippines, unlike first world countries, lacks sufficient experience in operating and developing such projects.
There is a well-established field behind carbon energy, which brings out the most efficient outcome, in turn, making its producers opt for this instead.
The Philippines is considered a developing country, which means that millions of Filipinos are still suffering from poverty and struggling with exporting their products. Upward inflow is greater than the outflow of commodities within the country. This includes the technologies we use, which are mostly dependent on carbon energy, making it harder for us to transition to renewable energy.
It is hard for the Philippines to completely eradicate the use of carbon energy since we have been importing material from the US, who are in fact one of the world's greatest contributors of carbon dioxide emitted from non-renewable energy. As long as the Philippines and the US remain as trading partners, I don't think that anytime soon we would be able to transition away from carbon energy.
For me, Philippines have a hard time to transition away from carbon energy as we lack the resources and advanced technology na meron sa ibang mga bansa.
For me, I think hydroelectricity energy will benefit us in the long run by modernizing existing hydropower infrastructure because it could boost productivity, make up for some drought-related losses, and guarantee that plants can continue to function for many years to come.
Aside from it being renewable and clean, it is a domestic source of energy, allowing regions to provide themselves energy.
Since hydroelectric energy comes from renewable energy sources like water, it can benefit the environment that will be beneficial for us in the long run.
Wide variations in water flow that are frequently observed in river basin headwaters can be managed with the aid of hydroelectric energy. These help improve aquatic environments by boosting water flow during the dry months. By slowing flow during times of high runoff, the plants can protect the wildlife and vegetation along the stream banks, paving the way for a sustainable future.
This idea of hydroelectric energy is not bad, and I think this will benefit us until the end of a stream of water.
Being a clean source of energy itself may help us maintain a low carbon footprint, which can aid in the control of environmental degradation.
As long as supervision when constructing the reservoir is taken into account, hydroelectric energy disregards the air pollution that other energy resources has.
Hydroelectric energy helps communities improve their economies, increase access to healthcare and education, and enhance their quality of life by providing energy, roadways, industry, and commerce. It has huge potential in the long run and is accessible in areas where energy development is most needed.
Years from now, I think hydroelectric energy will significantly benefit us Filipinos, considering that we live in an archipelago surrounded by water. This water, coming from the large dams, could be put into great use. Aside from storage, we could use it for hydroelectricity.
As we are all aware that hydroelectric energy is one example of renewable energy, I think that this type of energy will benefit us in the long run since it is replenishable, meaning hindi siya nauubos.
As a student, I would be able to encourage people by sharing this activity of ours. By doing so, it could educate individuals on hydroelectricity and why switching to this form of energy is vital.
Define actionable and attainable calls to action, and aim to share them with people, especially those who aspire to the same goals.
As a student, I would encourage people to consider hydroelectric energy, such as promoting them online with social media platforms and show them credible sources, which state that hydroelectric energy has many benefits such as it is more affordable and flexible for us.
I believe we are able to produce energy in our own homes nowadays. While it was once difficult to build hydroelectric power plants for personal use, this option is now becoming more and more appealing, enabling users to both create enough electricity for their own demands and share any excess power.
As a student, I could encourage people to switch to hydroelectric energy by showing them the positive points in using them. With this action, I can efficiently influence them to switch to hydroelectric energy.
I could promote the convenience and satisfaction of hydroelectric energy to us in the long run by utilizing and harnessing the power of social media.
By encouraging more households to switch to hydroelectric energy, since I can provide information as to why it's a low-cost energy source, such as the Philippines being an evident abundance of reservoirs due to its geologic structure.
I can inform the people around me about the benefits of switching from carbon energy to hydroelectric energy. As a student, I can also conduct further research about adopting renewable energy resources for small-scale projects that are useful in the community.
Given that nowadays the use of digital technologies is prevalent, I could use social media to my advantage to promote and inform people about the benefits that renewable energy, especially hydroelectric energy, may bring to us and our environment.
One thing I have in mind as a student is to inform the general public about the advantages, syempre, ng ating renewable energy since it is less pollutant to the environment and of course safer too.
Let us have a recap on the key points discussed in each section of the report. Since energy consumption has been prevalent throughout the years, there is a call for long-term energy usage. Thus, it is greatly important to shift from non-renewable energy towards renewable energy. By delving into their differences, renewable energy is able to constantly generate due to its natural sources. Therefore, using the right tools would infinitely replenish its own energy without the need for its manufactured production, preventing energy scarcity. Though the Philippines already has readily available renewable energy resources, such as solar, wind, biomass, and geothermal. Yet, in comparison to its water reservoir count, its geological archipelago structure otherwise, which consists of around 15 dams, making it highly efficient as a grounds for hydroelectric energy, relying heavily on the movement of water itself. Convincing people to suddenly switch to hydroelectric energy would be no easy task, since people would most likely stick to whatever they are familiar with and would rather prevent any consequences from happening. One of the sectors that would be taken into consideration is the government. This aids in the furtherment of the jurisdiction implementation within the area, along with the infrastructure to prevent the depletion of energy resources. Another sector is the people. By using a collective, cumulative, and collaborative approach respectively, making the community it is surrounded in be built upon the idea of sustainable development, to help flourish and replace the fossil fuel market with hydroelectric energy by showcasing its beneficial and flexible aspects, whilst regarding the need for heavy manufacturing services, and instead, focus on labor-extensive work when generating electricity. Moving on, let's assess how beneficial hydroelectric energy can be. As previously mentioned, the production is cost-efficient. Besides the power plant that will be used, the labor would be taken into account, which results in less heat and waste emissions compared to fossil fuels. Other than that, it can easily follow along with the supply and demand of its customers. Alongside its people would need to be taken into account when changing into hydroelectric energy. A prime example of this renewable energy in action is the Cristina Falls Hydroelectric Plant, which consists of 5 producing units that reliably powers around 70% of the Mindanao region. For as long as there is a water source, turbine blades would aid in the production of electricity, therefore producing for its power plant customers.